The Batman Who Fragged Origin, Lobo Batman Explored. The introduction of the Dark Multiverse has opened up a whole new alley in the realm of DC, and with this, we have been introduced to several other realities and their different interpretations of Batman. As you may have already know, they tend to be more on the darker side of the spectrum. The Batman Who Laughs is a good example of this phenomenon as someone who wants to create a nightmarish omniverse in his own image after becoming an all-powerful being. Although not nearly as evil as the Batman Who Laughs, the Dark Multiverse has also brought to us the Batman Who Frags. Confused about what this even means? That's what today's video is all about. So hang on. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. What is the Dark Multiverse? With the main character of today's episode being a resident of the Dark Multiverse, it only makes sense for us to understand this realm to be the best of our abilities. The Dark Multiverse is a shadowverse beneath the core of the primary multiverse, the one which we're already familiar with. It was formed as a result of fear, nightmares, and every bad decision ever made. With the lack of a strong foundation for the worlds in the Dark Multiverse, these universes have always been doomed from the beginning, with their destruction being inevitable. Director Zack Snyder was the man behind the idea of the Dark Multiverse. He took direct inspiration from a science documentary known as Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey, which resulted in him becoming fascinated with dark matter and questioning the existence of a darker version of the New 52 universe. Naturally, the worlds in the Dark Multiverse are often darker versions of their positive counterparts in the primary universe, with several mirror worlds having strong similarities to one another. While the Earths in the multiverse we know are referred to as Earth 1, Earth 2, and so on, the ones in the Dark Multiverse are known as Earth -1, Earth -2, and the list goes on. Earth -22 happens to be the world from where the Batman Who Laughs hails from, even though his origin story is the same as Bruce Wayne, losing his parents at a young age and finding his arch-rival in the Joker. The origins shifted when the Joker's toxin contaminated Batman's mind, giving him the moral compass of his nemesis. The Batman Who Frags is also a part of this multiverse, making him quite different from the heroic, mysterious masked vigilante who we're familiar with. In fact, the name itself gives his nature away with the word frag, being slang for to kill, wound, or assault. This is not a Batman who captures his victims and sends them to Arkham Asylum. This is a Batman who frags his opponents and sends them to hell. So what is death metal? Apart from being a super heavy subgenre of metal music, Dark Knight's death metal is a storyline in DC Comics that continues the story of the Dark Multiverse, which had begun with the Dark Knight's metal. According to this storyline, the two multiverses were connected to each other with the help of mysterious metals. Death metal is one of them, and it is an important factor that plays a big role in the story of Batman Who Frags, and it does it with the help of the man who this Batman was modeled behind, Lobo. The origin of the Batman Who Frags. This character made his comic book debut as it appeared in Dark Knight's Death Metal Infinite Hour Extreme, issue number 1. While the Batman Who Laughs was, in a way, a conceptual fusion of Bruce Wayne's Batman and the Joker, the Batman Who Frags is a conceptual fusion of Batman and Lobo. Lobo is an intergalactic bounty hunter from the peaceful and utopian planet known as Zarnia, not to be confused with a Narnia that has a Russian emperor. However, Lobo is far from being someone who represents the civil nature of this world. In fact, Lobo is notoriously known for his violent nature and his status as an intergalactic bounty hunter, who is far less polished in a manner compared to another popular intergalactic bounty hunter, Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. Lobo was born evil and his nature drove his nurse crazy. In fact, his name referred to the one who devours your entrails and thoroughly enjoys it. For a high school science experiment, Lobo killed every Zarnian ever at the age of 17 using a swarm of scorpion-like beings that were ridiculously lethal. He did go on to give himself an A, but that did not change who he was, a vulgar, violent, and sadistic man. Lobo was also known for his astonishing strength and his hyper-accelerated healing that was so efficient that he could restore his body even if it had to do so from a single cell. Dark Knight's Death Metal Infinite Hour Extreme, issue number 1, began with a scene that did Lobo's violence justice. 6 months before the events of the story, he was in a bar where he had beaten everyone to their deaths using the hand of the waiter, which he had ripped apart before using it as a weapon. He loved his alcohol, but it was evident that he did not give the slightest damn about his violence not being the ideal code of conduct in a public setting. He also considered himself to be quite the main man, but soon he was about to get humbled, albeit temporarily. Soon, a portal opened up out of the blue and Lobo was sent away from the bar to a different location. Finally, Lobo came face to face with the ultimate main man, the Batman who frags. He looked a lot like Lobo but had a better sense of style with his bat aesthetic and super cool skull boots. This Batman began to beat the crap out of Lobo from nowhere and soon dove headfirst into his origin story. He used to be just like any other Bruce Wayne, but that was until he injected himself with the DNA of a Zarnian, which would give him greater strength and accelerated healing. Obviously, his intention was to continue being himself with the healing abilities of a Zarnian. However, the experiment was a failure as Batman ended up with the same menacing appearance as Lobo instead of just acquiring the powers. But it wasn't Lobo's appearance that was his worst feature, it was his personality. And unfortunately, Batman had acquired that personality as well. His story continued in the comic with Lobo outwitting Batman and stabbing him in the abdomen with a huge batarang. Before Batman could recover, Lobo was zapped away from that world and found himself near Lex Luthor. Lex offered him a chance to get the death metal because the universe or the dark multiverse was at stake. Lobo did not want the multiverse to end due to his love for attractive women, dolphins, beer, and money, and with Lex offering a good amount, the bounty hunter was no one to turn down the enticing offer that would keep him united with his booze. Meanwhile, the Batman who frags was enraged due to Lobo disappearing on him and wanted to hunt him down. While Lobo headed out in his space chopper to find the death metal, the Batman who frags headed out in his space chopper to hunt down Lobo. And so he did on a remote island after Lobo had already met Hawkman. But by the time the Batman who frags caught up to Lobo, the latter already had the death metal and was soon taken to a different reality via a portal created by Hawkman. While the metal would allow Lobo to change reality, the Batman who frags had to stop him from getting his hands on that very metal. Needless to say, the plan did not work out, but this Batman did not know that Lobo had escaped and continued to believe that his subsequent explosions had killed his self-appointed enemy. Meanwhile, Lobo opened death metal and rewrote history the way he saw fit, which was possible because death metal was a shard of element X, which was an element that could alter reality. With its powers, Lobo engineered a pocket dimension known as Lobo Land. In this universe, Lobo populated the worlds with people who resembled the Zarnians as he added his own Zarnian twists to the stories from the primary universe. For example, Superman had a Lobo-like appearance and so did Joe Chill. On the other hand, Wonder Woman's Lobo counterpart hated humans and loved dolphins. She killed the man for being, well, human. Lobo also went on to play around with Brainiac, putting him in weird costumes. However, the two of them were soon ambushed by the Batman who frags. Once again, the Batman got the shorter end of the stick as Lobo used the death metal to send him to a different reality in the pocket dimension, where he was beaten up by a Zarnian Justice League. You could say Batman got fragged. What makes the Batman who frags so dangerous? We already know that Batman's intellect and net worth make him one of the most dangerous characters in the DC universe. Add superhuman physiology, strength, and the ability to regenerate to that, and you have someone you would definitely not want as your opponent. Marvelous verdict. For someone who seems to look and be so dangerous, the Batman who frags got outsmarted by the original, in his case, Lobo. This feels a bit weird considering Batman is stronger than Lobo and obviously way smarter, but maybe Lobo was right when he said that butting heads with the greatest masters for his training made Batman the biggest butthead of all. If you like the content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.